Hi, this is Dr. Haskell again. I want to just add a few more details about the 30-day detox program that my daughter Erin and I have designed or organized, and also about another curriculum which is sort of an add-on to the 30-day. I want to first of all state the underlying reason why the 30-day program works so well in helping people to restore their health, and that is that the idea of nature cures. And the nature that we're speaking about is the nature within each of us, this innate wisdom, this inner physician that is behind or that orchestrates our wellness or our ability to heal. And all we need to do is to support this wisdom by helping it or by purifying the stored toxic residues that have accumulated in the body since our birth and even before. Also to recognize environmental toxins within our environment, primarily our home, and to avoid them, to minimize our exposure, and of course to nourish the body, to provide all the nutrients the body or this wisdom requires to optimize or to improve the function of all the cells and tissues of the body. This approach of using nature is simple, it's rational or logical, and makes common sense. And if we believe in this wisdom, if we believe we have the capacity to, if we believe we were given this beautiful gift of the capacity to heal, we probably realize at the same time that no synthetic drug can help to restore our health. The synthetic drugs can certainly minimize symptoms, but they really have nothing to do with restoration and rejuvenation. And people are becoming more acceptable of this idea, or less willing to seek out sort of medical help for a symptom and to take a drug at this time. There's a huge movement in seeking something that's alternative or more complementary to wellness or health, and kind of beginning to avoid the idea of taking a drug or being on a drug for the rest of our life. They're seeking alternate ways of restoring their health. They're seeking advice about nutrition, about supplements and herbs. And I'm sure many of you know that this increased awareness or wanting to live more in harmony or connected with nature is nothing new. But I think I know there's a huge movement now. I see it in my practice. I see it expanding over the last 30 years slowly, but really in the last 10 years it's been a huge momentum that's building in this country and around the world. So this is the reason why my daughter Erin and I have been so active in the designing of the 30-day program. We spent thousands of hours to initiate the program, and now we also feel that it's time to begin another sort of launch of a training program for those people who have completed the 30-day to then go on to further education and to become a coach that's fairly specialized in detoxification. The foundation of the curriculum has to do with nutrition. It covers gut ecology, of improving the pathways of detoxification, about living life with greater mindfulness or self-awareness, about how to reduce stress, about improving the immune system and blood sugar dysregulation, about the most effective food-based supplements to use, and also about improving thyroid and adrenal function. And this scope of our curriculum really is a great foundation for our students to not only incorporate this in their own lives, but to someday, once they graduate, to be able to simply facilitate and educate people about wellness. And again, that foundation is nature cure. And this is very empowering. This is the basis of a sense of, let's say, security that so many people in the world now are living out of fear of illness and really not having much education to know how to take care of themselves. Too often we run to the medical system for help without considering what we can do for ourselves. The medical system, unfortunately, does not really address the cause or underlying reasons why people are having symptoms. And very seldom will the system consider the environmental toxins, especially the accumulated burden of environmental toxins upon the system, which are often a major underlying issue of why people are not feeling well. And this is the curriculum, educating and applying all of the different aspects of nature cure to help other people to become better, to feel healthier. I spent many years in school. I did my pre-med and then on to 4 years at the National College of Natural Medicine in Portland, Oregon. In those days, which was a little while ago, I think I spent probably close to $60,000. Nowadays, students are coming out of the naturopathic schools with a burden of around $180,000 to $200,000 worth of tuition debt. But I really don't feel that level, that intensity of education is really all that necessary to be able to help and to coach people to improve their health. For sure, the diagnosis is important, and understanding how to read or interpret lab tests and doing a physical exam, those are of course important. But most people have already been through that with their physician. They've gone to their doctor. They're not feeling well. The doctor says, all your signs and all your lab tests say that everything is just fine. Everything is normal. The next thing they often say is, well, maybe it's just because of stress, or maybe it's just part of aging, or maybe psychology is an issue. Maybe you should go see a psychiatrist. Millions of people are going through this experience. They know they're not well, but the doctor cannot figure out why they are not well. And this is where, even though a person doesn't have that degree of education through going through a naturopathic medical school, they can still help many, many people through simply educating them about what is harmful and what is beneficial, and inspiring them and giving them the tools they need to help them improve their energy and their vitality. And of course, this is where the purification program comes in. And in the 6th month, we go into much greater detail about the purification, but all those other subjects that relate to nature cure. And this is part of the origins of natural medicine. And this, again, this innate wisdom, if we can support that innate wisdom, we can recover our health, what's called our constitution, what we're born with. As a simple illustration, there's a therapy which is called constitutional hydrotherapy. And the therapy is pretty much done in the same way with every single person, no matter what their underlying issues, physical and mental issues are. It's simply the application of hot and then cold compresses to the chest and to the back. There's a sine wave machine which helps to sort of pump the lymphatic system of getting rid of debris and, so to speak, in the swamp, in the lymphatic swamp, to get the toxins out. The hot and cold also helps to improve oxygenation and blood flow to all the organs in the abdominal area, the liver primarily, the spleen, the stomach, small intestine, pancreas. Applications to the back are primarily to improve the stimulus coming from the nervous system that innervates all the organs in the abdominal cavity. So it's a very simple treatment, but it's very, very effective because it's addressing the constitution. It's helping this innate wisdom to repair and recover and rejuvenate the vitality. There are many therapies which can be applied to most conditions that will help to improve the health of that person. Saunas being another one, emptying or excreting toxins from the body. This is old naturopathic or old, I don't know, holistic is fairly new, but old medicine. This is how it was done. Hippocrates, one of his favorite things was to remove food from the person's diet, to allow the vitality, to free up the vitality so that it could deal with an issue, a physical issue. It didn't have to digest food. It didn't have to, to absorb it or transport it to different tissues. The tissues didn't have to absorb nutrients. The vitality was freed up to help to repair and rejuvenate the body or the tissues. This is simple. It is very simple. And this is what we teach in our curriculum. The basics of natural medicine. When I went through naturopathic medical school, our first 2 years was primarily hardcore medical school, physiology, biochemistry, anatomy, the whole thing. We did have courses in natural medicine and herbs and nutrition and chiropractic and things like that. But I really sense that we had lost the core of this innate wisdom of nature cure. Very seldom, only one of my professors, I think it was only one, maybe two, began to help us understand this wisdom within, the healing nature, the healing power of nature. And I know I've spoken with many, many students that are in other schools since I've been out. I go to conferences, many students that are in naturopathic medical school, and I start talking to them about the naturopathic medicine, nature cure, and they go, so happy that you're mentioning that, because that was why I got into natural healing. That's why I wanted to go to naturopathic medical school, because I realized there's this wisdom, and thanks for reminding me, I almost forgot about it. So this is our curriculum, is to teach our students about the core of wellness, and that is this innate intelligence and ways of supporting this. If a student that's going through the program, they do go through an experiential program whereby they are integrating what they're learning into their lives. This was also not a part of my training in naturopathic medical school. We went to classes, we did our homework, we did the exams, we went into clinic, we saw patients in the clinic. Seldom were we asked to actually go through treatments. We were available, but we were seldom asked to experience the therapies that we were learning about. And this is what makes our curriculum unique. Students are told, they're advised, they're admonished to experience what they're learning, because the experience is what makes a good coach. I could say it makes a good physician, but I don't think it's absolutely necessary for the physician to experience what they're suggesting for the client, which is primarily based upon their diagnosis. Seldom, even with naturopathic doctors, seldom is the constitution, seldom is this innate wisdom ever addressed. It's oftentimes, what's the system that's not working? Is it the gut that's out of whack? Is it leaky gut syndrome? Is it autoimmune disease? Is it heavy metals? Trying to figure out, in some ways, what's under the surface, addressing cause, but very seldom is this innate wisdom supported to bring about the healing. It's often supplements, or in my case, supplements and also intravenous treatments and chelation and all these things, which it's part of the training of a naturopathic doctor and the holistic medical doctors as well. But the fault in the system now is that most of the time, doctors or holistic doctors are primarily treating symptoms or systems, and they're not really supporting the wisdom within to bring about the healing. So I feel that not only is the 30-day program a wonderful opportunity for people to become educated and to know how to recover their health, to become empowered through education, through experience, but I really feel that if a person is looking not only for recovering their own health, but looking for an avenue through which to take on a new lifestyle or a new profession, if they have it in their heart, if it's a calling in some way to be in a position of influence and to be able to help and to affect the health of other people, if you feel like this may be a calling for you, it was for me, then this is a wonderful opportunity to become educated and to go through this experiential program, to come out the other side fully equipped through experience, through education, fully equipped to then know how to launch a profession, either locally, and we have lots of ideas about how to do this locally in your community. And some may wish to go on to more of either a state or a national or even a global level, which is what my practice in part is. I consult with people all over the world because of various books I've written. We feel this is a wonderful avenue for people to take a new path in their lives, and a path which can be very rewarding, very enriching, because we know that we can be a channel through which to help other people that are seeking integrity and seeking honesty from professionals who know what they're speaking about, who are not coming necessarily from a place of authority that I know what you should do, but really coming from a place of, this is what I've been through, and this is what has helped me, and this is what my other colleagues who I was, in school with, this is what we have learned as a community, as a collective body, to transmit that information, that experience, that education onto others, to empower them. I don't know, it doesn't get much better than that as far as a lifestyle. To really feel that you're making a difference, to really feel that you're part of this wave, this grassroots movement that is moving through the United States and through Canada and through other parts of the world. This movement, this tide that's moving in the direction of nature, of becoming more in touch with our own nature, becoming more in touch with our instincts, our intuition, and not becoming dependent or not relying on a system that really addresses primarily acute situations or life-threatening situations. The system is great with emergencies and life-threatening situations, but it is not one that really is able to bring about a cure or wellness. And this is what we're missing in the world right now. We've lost a lot of our roots, our ancient roots of wellness. When I was young, we lived in the country. We had a ranch, a cattle ranch. So we were quite a ways away from the city, maybe half an hour away. So most of how my mother dealt with earaches and fevers and things like that was pretty much just being there for me, and whatever I needed, whatever I cried out for, she'd kind of bring for me. And I remember drinking lots of ginger ale and various things like that. But it was interesting. But I remember one time my earache was horrific, and went to this clinic. Walked in, it smelled like rubbing alcohol, that fragrance in the old clinics, and went in the doctor's office, and he looked into my ear, and I was crying and screaming and in pain, and he said, well, it looks like we should give him antibiotics. And my mother just said, okay, whatever you say, doc. In those days it was like, okay, you're the authority, go right ahead. So I remember sitting in this fairly small room, probably, well, to me at that time looked like about, 6 foot by 6 foot. And the doctor's over on the countertop with a sink and is washing his hands. And he turns around, he's got this big old syringe with this long needle on it. And that was the way that in those days, partly antibiotics were given, penicillin injections. And I saw that needle and I just flipped. I was like 8 years old, and the doctor, my mother, and the nurse just couldn't keep me down. I was like a slippery fish, a slippery pig all over the room. And finally the doctor said, I don't think we can do this. And my mom said, yeah, I think you're right. And it's like, phew, I saved myself and got home and, I had a fever that night, and the fever broke, and I felt, wow, I woke up the next morning, I felt fantastic. Colors were brighter, I had appetite, I felt really, really well. And I think at least one thing I was learned, and that was my mother learned, and I think I learned at a very young age, that my body could heal itself just given time. And she put some, hot olive oil in that ear, and I woke up really feeling well. And she told me later on in my life that you would not believe all the kicks and scratch marks and rubber marks all over the walls from my kicking and screaming. So there's something to this, and I think people run to the doctor too quickly to find a solution. Almost all the time it's usually antibiotics or something to suppress symptoms. And I think if people learn the techniques that we teach in our curriculum about how to get through these phases. I've never had to prescribe, my license allows me to prescribe antibiotics. I've never, in my 30 years of practice, I have never had to prescribe antibiotics to anyone. And my practice is probably 15 to 20% pediatrics. And it comes down to, again, supporting the innate wisdom of the body. And that means if there's a fever, don't suppress it. Use something natural to support the body's innate wisdom to heal. Using something as simple as an old hydrotherapy naturopathic treatment of using what's called the cold sock treatment. You put on damp, cold socks, you wring them out as much as you can, put those on the child's feet or on the adult's feet, covered with thick, thick wool, dry socks. And most of the time, within an hour or two, the person is feeling better. The cough is much better, the ears have drained, the sore throat is better. Don't ask me how it works, but it has something to do with circulation and the body's response to cold. I mean, there's many things about hydrotherapy that, doctors used to use hydrotherapy alone in their practice many, many years ago. So nature has the ability to cure, but we don't want to interfere. Of course, if the fever is, above 104 and there's issues going on, then, you've got to sometimes use antipyretics or something to bring the fever down. But most of the time, the innate body's innate wisdom is able to cure. And once they've been through that stage, that acute stage, they come out the other side, the immune system is stronger rather than weaker. So nature cures, and this is what we teach in the curriculum. All the ways to help teach our students and their clients how to support this innate wisdom. It's a beautiful program. So if you'd like to, if this feels like a calling to you, the first step is to go through the 30-day detoxification program. Experience it. Get the toxins out of your body. Nourish your system with organic juices and some foods. Remove the toxins from your environment. Become educated about what toxins are in your environment. And most people are naive. This is one thing that we cover in the 30-day, is to become aware of these toxins and how to get them out of the system. So the first step, if you're interested, if you're suffering, do it. Don't wait. Don't procrastinate. This can change your life. Sign up for the 30-day program right now. We're here for you for the next 30 days. We're giving live webinars. We're here to support you with many, I think 21 or 22 what are called flipping books. They're digital books. I've written them all. There's embedded videos to educate you about these toxins and about juicing and how to improve your health. We have also recorded recordings, MP3 recordings that my daughter and I discuss different aspects of wellness and healing. It's an incredible program. It's very, very rich in information education. We're here to support you not only in the 30-day, but also to take you through the 6-month curriculum. It's a wonderful opportunity. So really, I truly, from my heart, advise you to purchase our 30-day. We'll be contacting you shortly after you sign up. We'll let you know when the next webinar is. We'd love to have you as part of our community. We are dedicated to causing or to creating or to be a catalyst for this new wave of wellness and health. And we would love to have you join us on this path towards wellness and wealth and well-being. So I thank you for listening to a little bit of a long recording, but please hope you'll join us, both my daughter Erin and myself, and our very lovely community of other like-minded people. Thank you.
Someday I wish upon a star.